Today's book, Footprints in the Snow by Sheng Yin. It's about a Buddhist monk. Now, he's considered to be a Chan master, so I don't feel qualified to discuss Buddhism at all. I know very little about Buddhism, but I do know that Chan Buddhism is very similar to the Japanese version of Zen Buddhism, so I know that much. This is a really cool book. I knew nothing about this guy. It just happened to be on the shelf for me to pick up, so I picked it up. And I'm actually going to read quite a bit of this today. So, when the typhoons finally stopped and the winds died down, my father took me to see how my second sister's family had fared. Although the flood had spared their house, their land was outside the dike and had disappeared. In places where the water had begun to recede, all that was left of other houses were thatched roofs. Debris floated in the water, half-starved dogs and cats clung to flotsam, and human corpses bobbed in the waves. Their clothes had been stripped off, and they had begun to bloat and rot. The male corpse floated face down, their bodies arched like bows with only their backs visible above the water. I thought this was because their stomachs had less fat, but I never found out why. Most of the female corpses floated face up. Their heads had bent back, their hair was fanned, and their feet hung down below the surface. They also formed bows, but in the opposite direction. The children's corpses were bloated like blowfish, swollen and puffed up with sickly white bellies and leprous grey backs. Ducks scavenged their eyeballs. The rain had stopped, the sun beat down, and the waves of stench drifted off the river. It was such an awful experience. Over the next few weeks, I kept waking up in the middle of the night in terror. The fragility of life is frightening, not only to adults, but to children too. The destruction I witnessed was like that of Shakyamuni Buddha, realized upon enlightenment, that the world is fragile and constantly in danger. The cycle of birth and death is like an ocean of suffering. He goes on to say that he didn't have any religious beliefs at the time, but goes on to obviously become an ascetic monk. Where are we? So he's talking about other famous monks. A young monk I knew was a good writer and very intelligent. He published award-winning novels and political commentary. Many people thought that he was on the road to great renown, but his Sangha bag was filled with photos of women. Why do you have so many pictures of women? I asked him. These women kept giving me their pictures, he said. I don't want to be rude, so I keep them. This was a monk who told himself he would surpass Master Taizu's accomplishments, and that's a famous Buddhist monk, I guess. And yet he ended up renouncing his vows and returning to lay life because he attracted so many women. The lesson of this, I think, is that we should not boast about what we will become in the future. Instead, we should be clear about who we are right now. So this is talking about his experience of basically being homeless in New York City. When you have nothing, you are free. When you own something, then you are bound by your possessions. I felt very happy. I did not feel that I had no future. In fact, I felt my future was rich and great indeed because I had students. I still had a mission to fulfill. I did not know where I would sleep at night. I knew that I was much better off than homeless people who really did not have anything and were without a future. And I knew that I could not wander forever. My life is very different now. I've met with world leaders and given a keynote address in the General Assembly Hall at the United Nations. My disciples include high-level officials in Taiwan. I was received as a VIP in motorcades in mainland China and Thailand. I'm venerated by my followers. People feel that if they don't treat me this way, it is not right. But it does not make any difference to me whether they treat me this way or not. I am famous today, but tomorrow, when I can no longer do what I do now, I will be forgotten. How many people have their names remembered in history? Fame, like wealth and power, is illusory. So a mind of equanimity is necessary in all circumstances. Very humble. This is about some of his experience with students. Some students suffered from pride and ambition. A student once asked me, "Are you the best teacher in this world?" "I'm not," I said. "Who is?" he asked. "I don't know," I said. "Maybe I'm the best teacher for you now." "Since you are not confident that you are the best teacher," he said, "I will go look for the best teacher." A couple of years later, he returned to me. "There seems to be no such thing as the best teacher in this world. Sometimes people told me about a great teacher, and then when I went to his classes, I didn't think he was all that good." Several people came to practice with me after studying with different teachers from different Buddhist sects. They left these teachers because they didn't find them or their organizations good enough. At first, they were very faithful disciples, even while holding to some of the ideas they learned from their previous places of practice. But eventually, I also did not live up to their ideals. They became critical and wanted me to change. They even demanded that I chase away some of my other students. I couldn't change myself as a teacher or change our organization to fit their ideals. These people left. We did not become enemies, and I was not disheartened to see them go. They simply wanted to fulfill their own ideals, and when I no longer fit into that quest, they went searching elsewhere. They still learned from me and contributed to the organization. It's good when they come, it's also good when they leave. There is nothing unhappy about it. Everything is impermanent in this world. It's an ongoing Buddhist theme in this book. So this is the last little reading I'm going to do. I believe that I have been very fortunate in my life. There is one principle that has remained constant. I never allow myself to experience feelings of satisfaction or disappointment. When things are going well, I don't let myself feel content. When I encounter obstacles or failure, I don't despair. I find ways to keep going. When I encounter a dead end, I turn around and find another way to proceed. I keep moving. If I stop, there is no hope. That push for movement, to continue no matter what the obstacles and difficulties are, and not give up, has been the guiding force of my life. I am old now, close to my death, but I still see a road ahead of me. I do not think I am done. So really accessible insight into Chan Buddhism. I really enjoyed it. I couldn't put it down, to be honest. But yeah, check it out.